Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Full Circle. Lexie, how you feeling?
Hey girl. I've felt better, but I'm doing well, still blessed. How are you?
I'm good, Lexie. I'm good. I'm ready to talk to the people about what's going on this week.
There's a lot going on.
I know.
What week are we in the season? 2?
2, I believe.
I feel like the season has been going on for a year.
I know. It's felt long.
Oh my goodness.
But as soon as it's over, we're going to be like, that flew by.
You might feel that way.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not actually playing.
I'm not gonna feel that way. No. But no, it's been great. It's been fun. I, just like you, have been watching from the sidelines. But let's get right into it because we have a lot of exciting things to talk about today. And we can start with the beginning of our Commissioner's Cup.
Yes. Okay. So first off, I want to introduce you guys to the WNBA Commissioner's Cup. Super exciting. The in-season tournament from the other league copied it, actually.
Stole. I don't even like saying copied. They stole the idea. Completely stole it.
Straight up. But I'm a fan.
And I will say, I love it. And I think that the NBA actually does it better than we do as far as marketing and pushing it and promoting it, because it's been a few years of us doing the Commissioner's Cup and people still are like, what's the Commissioner's Cup? So we're here to explain it to anybody that is confused as to why all of a sudden all of the messaging has switched over in this month of June and we are playing with pink, black, and white basketballs instead of our typical orange and white ones. So, Mariah, if you want to give the people a little rundown of what the Commissioner's Cup is.
Yes, I'm going to give a little intro as to what it is, just basic overview. And then, Lexie, I want you to explain your opinion on it and what you think, because obviously you have some opinions. But first and foremost, this is the WNBA's in-season tournament. So there's prize money, bragging rights, and charity incentives. It originated in 2020, and then it was officially announced in 2020, and then it officially launched in 2021. The format is it's from June 1st to June 17th, and it's designated games within each conference that count towards the cup standing. So me and Lexie, when we did our preseason preview, went through the teams by conference, even though the playoffs aren't by conference. So you guys can go back to those episodes to see how that works. But it's basically the Eastern teams, all 5 of them, versus the Western teams, all 6 of them, they play. There's 6 because of Golden State. And the top team in each conference plays in the July 1st title game. Each game still counts towards everyone's regular season standings, so it still counts towards their normal standings, but there is a $500,000 prize pool for players on the winning team. And there's a little bonus that each player receives around $5,000 in Bitcoin, which I just learned that today. Very interesting. But that's worth about...
And I just learned that just now.
Yeah, that's worth about $120,000 in total. And the past winners are the Storm, the Aces, the Liberty, and the Lynx. And the past MVPs are Breanna Stewart, Asia Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, and Nafisa Collier. Lexie, what are your thoughts on the Commissioner's Cup?
Well, for me, it's exciting because you get more money. So in our last game, I didn't play our last game, but I was like, I want to win this game because you don't have to play to get the bonus money. You just got to be on the team.
Amen.
So for me, I've always been excited about the Commissioner's Cup, but it's like, obviously I haven't been on any of these teams that have won the Commissioner's Cup. And I know why, because there was like little to no excitement about it on the teams that I was on. Yes, you want to lock in and be like, oh, this is just like another game. It's another game. But no, it's not just another game. It's the Commissioner's Cup.
Right.
And I feel like some teams approach it that way. And then some teams approach it like, no, like this is the Commissioner's Cup. Like we want to win. Like it doesn't matter what's going on in our regular season right now. It's Commissioner Cup time. Forget everything else that's been going on. Let's lock in and win the Commissioner's Cup. Like you get a trophy, you get the champagne bottles, you get a photo shoot, you get all the things. And it looks so much fun.
Right. And it counts. It counts towards your regular season standings.
Exactly. So I'm like, why are some teams are more...
Right. Giving these games a little extra oomph isn't harmful, in my opinion.
No. And it's been the most confusing thing to me. Like, people don't get like extra hype for the Commissioner's Cup game. Like, yeah, we can talk about it. Like, oh, yeah, it's Commissioner's Cup. But like, we got to play like it's the finals.
Exactly. That's when I was looking into it, why it matters, quote unquote, is because it's high stakes. It's supposed to be giving the fans a playoff type of atmosphere early in the season.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it adds an entertainment value, extra competition, and some more context to early season matchups. Because in any league, the early part of the regular season can be a little, well, it's the early part of the regular season, it doesn't matter. But you throw in a trophy and a tournament, I feel like it matters a little extra.
Yeah. And the thing about ours versus the NBA is the conference thing. And the NBA, it's like, they're like randomized. Quote unquote, as random as things can be in professional sports.
Right.
So it's like you do see these early season matchups that maybe you wouldn't see before. And you see teams that maybe aren't doing so well because they're stuck in the tough ass Western Conference. Now they get to go play in the Commissioner's Cup and play some teams that they don't have to see all the time. And boom, all of a sudden you see an Indiana Pacers team like last season in the finals of the Commissioner's Cup. So
foreshadowing?
I don't know if we'll ever get to that. In our league, as our teams grow, we get expansion and stuff to where it won't have to just be East-West. I think, obviously, that might be like a logistical thing as well. But I think it would be more fun if you mix up the Commissioner's Cup or like break it down into like 3 pools or 4 pools instead of just 2 big ones. Like, but again, there's limitations because there's only 13 teams. Also, it's like not fair that we have to play 6 and the Eastern gets to play 5. Like, what is that?
I will say, that is ridiculous. I will say that for me as a fan, it makes it less confusing that it's East-West because that's what I'm used to with the NBA playoffs. And I can understand that very simply, like geographically, East-West. But when they do the whole prize pool thing in the in-season tournament, I'm confused. I don't know who's playing who. I don't know what's going on. So I actually feel like, well, it might be more fun because of the matchups, but I feel like as a fan, I like the way the
easier
W's
to
doing
follow.
it better. Right.
Yeah, because it's easier to follow. But I need them to like do more with it. It's like, it's still like the in-season tournament, like the way the NBA like made that seem like it was the NBA finals.
Oh yeah, they gassed it. It had a whole commercial.
Yeah, they gassed it. Exactly. Like we're not there yet. And I think we can get there. And I think once that happens, then it's going to like turn a corner as far as the stakes being high and the level of play being elevated. But it also happens like we're 7 games in.
Right.
So they're asking us to be like, oh, playoff ready. And we've been playing for a week and a half.
Yeah, it's still early.
And some teams are hooping, some teams are still figuring it out, which is what we're about to get into some of that as well. But shout out to the Commissioner's Cup. We still have a chance to get our ish together. So far the Storm, we're 0-1 in Commissioner's Cup, but we have time to turn it around.
100%. 100%.
Literally tonight.
I definitely think tonight's matchup y'all got is definitely an opportunity to turn things around.
We have no choice. Which we won't, and I'm not going to put that out there because we have powerful manifestation words. That'll be 4 losses in a row, and that's not how you want to.
You're playing the Wings, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll be
at
okay.
Home.
You'll be fine. I can say that.
I'm not even gonna say.
I can say that.
Exactly. I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah, but I think you'll be all right. All right, getting into, we don't want to spoil it too soon. Looking at some of the teams that stuck out to us this week. I want to start by either way, Lexie. You want to just go through these and talk about each one, or do you want to give an overview and then you can say what stuck out to you?
We'll go one by one.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start.
I think that's
with
easier.
Liberty.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, this is the team. I mean, there are 2, but this is the team really everyone's been talking about because they don't look that different, but they do look a little different. This has been their most dominant start ever. They have the best offensive and defensive rating. Everyone's touching the ball. I mean, Ellie might get the next assist on that team. They look incredible.
I think Mariah has a minor obsession with Ellie because she
100%. That's my homegirl.
I need y'all to get a picture together if you ever go to a Liberty game again.
Oh, I have one.
Oh, you do? Oh, yeah. We're going to post that on our socials because now the world needs to see why what's going on with Ellie and Mariah, because y'all got something going on.
Oh my God,
Y'all got
love
something.
Ellie. But
Y'all
I'm
got something
serious. The
special.
way things are going for them, they about to put Ellie on the court. I'm not even playing. They look amazing.
They look so good. They're back to these numbers, you guys. I'm always gonna talk about the numbers here, okay? They have the highest assist percentage in the league. Their net rating, like Mariah said, is number 1, and it's 25.1. And to put that in context, the team with the second best offensive rating, who we will also talk about a little bit later, has a net rating of 10.3. So if y'all can visualize the gap of offensive domination and defensive domination that the Liberty are playing with right now, there you go. 25.1, second place is 10.3. To go on top of their offensive rating, they're averaging 91.9 points per game. And the last team that averaged over 90 points per game were the Aces in 2022 and in 2023. I'm pretty sure those are the years that they won their back-to-back championships. And shout out to the Liberty, because the Las Vegas Aces have led the league in scoring since 2020.
Wow.
So let's knock the Aces off that little pedestal. So I'm gonna give them a little high five for that, because yes, we've been watching the Aces run the table offensively for 5 years. So it's nice to see another team stepping up to the challenge of scoring the basketball in our league, because it is not easy to score in the WNBA. So, yes.
Lexie, why the difference? I didn't know before we started talking that you were about to say that, and I'm shocked. But obviously we know what's making the team so good. Obviously the pieces they have are really good, but they're that far apart.
They're just they're a well-oiled machine, like we always say. And the addition of Tosh has, I knew she was going to come in there and make a big difference, but the impact that she's had has been beyond probably anybody's expectations. She has brought their energy to another level. They already were a very hard team to guard, inside and outside. They have endless threats from the 2. They have endless threats from the 3. They got threats coming off the bench. And it just seems like everybody on that team is in a role, and they're fulfilling it, and they're embracing it. And they just look like they're having a lot of fun. And we can credit that, again, to when every time we think of the Liberty, you think of the Liberty, and then you think of Ellie. I think it's nice to, as many superstars as they have on that team, you don't think of just one player when you think of the Liberty, unless you're a super fan of one of those players. But from the outside looking in, when you look at the Liberty, you're like, that's a really, really good team. And they have a really, really fun, amazing mascot. And I think that's making such a big difference. They're out there just playing so free. And it looks like they look very free flowing. And even when they're missing a star in JJ, they're still very dominant. So I knew they were going to be really good. Obviously, they're the defending champions, but they're exceeding my personal expectations I had for them. And this is only game 7, so they're only going to keep getting better. So everyone else needs to tighten up.
Well, let's get into the next unbeaten team that you mentioned. The Minnesota Lynx. They are unbeaten and still seem unsatisfied, okay, tearing through the league. Courtney Williams and Nafisa Collier are an elite duo. Lexie, tell us what the numbers have to say about the Lynx.
The Lynx, so the team with the next best net rating at 10.3 is the Lynx, which is still a really good net rating. So I think the Liberty, they're going to plateau or whatever at some point numbers-wise, not saying their game is still not going to, take a leap. They have the second highest assist percentage, and Kayla McBride returned to the starting lineup when they played us. Lucky us that we got the return of K-Mac. And in her 3 games back, she's averaging 13 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and shooting 50% from 3. So K-Mac came into the starting lineup, and she said, I know y'all miss me. Here I am. I didn't miss a beat. She fits again in that system seamlessly. And then the dynamic duo of Courtney Williams and Nafisa Collier are averaging over 40 points per game, just the 2 of them. So that's another 3-headed snake right there. And again, it's another team when you think about them, yes, Fee is MVP candidate, playing out of her mind, but you still think of the Lynx, the team. And I think that's also like their superpower, just like the Liberty. Like you don't just be like, oh, if we stop this one, like they gonna be dead. Or if you stop this one, they gonna be dead. Like, no, like that's a very hard team to guard. They're a hard team to play against. And we played them pretty tight when we were in Minnesota. But like watching them actually, one of the games I actually played in, like they got it together. So they're another team that just is going to continue to improve, I think.
Lexie, I'm curious. Obviously, basketball is a team sport, so duh. But we've seen different types of great teams, superstar-led great teams, and like what you're describing, which is you don't know who's going to go off on any given night type of teams. Which one or is the WNBA leaning more towards as the future is coming? Because you know the style is always changing, and these are the teams on top. So is this what fans have to look forward to, getting used to?
Yeah, I mean, I think historically, those are the teams that have won in the WNBA when you have a lot of talented players and you have a coach that knows where to put these players. That's a whole job within itself, too, is making sure that you're putting your stars and you're putting your talented players in situations for them to be successful. And that's not always easy. And then in turn, those players have to now buy in into these situations, which might not always be the situation that they want. So it's up like, I'll use Courtney as I haven't had a conversation with Courtney about this, but I've played with Courtney in Connecticut and I've watched her. I played against her in college. Like she didn't come into the league to be a point guard. She didn't come into the league to run a team, but she is great when she has the ball in her hands. And it took her being on this super talented Lynx team for her coach to be like, you are really great with the ball. You are a threat from the mid-range and you're a very underrated passer. You need to be the point guard of this team. And I'm sure Courtney at first was like, I'm not a point guard. Like, what are you like? This is a very hard position, but she's embraced it. And now she looks like one of the best point guards in the league right now. And she's playing like it. And her confidence is sky high. So it's having that type of relationship with your team, your teammates, your coaching staff to make a whole team work. But you look at teams of the past, like even that Minnesota Lynx dynasty team, like they had 5 Hall of Famers on their team. So.
And that requires buy-in. Like not everybody wants to go, like you said, pretty much everybody in the WNBA, because as we've spoken about so many times, everybody is so talented and it's so hard to hold and take a spot in that league. But outside of that, every player being a player that could go be a star somewhere and choosing to buy into a system where they might not be in the position that they are there for or want to be, or be the main girl and the main star. That requires buy-in from those players.
And it's a two-way street. So yeah, I think historically that's how teams have been successful in the W. I think it's going to continue that way because everybody in this league is so talented and everybody has a platform. Everybody has a brand. So you don't have like a ton of like no name under the radar players coming in that you can kind of draft and just kind of like hide away on the bench. Cause you're going to have people be like, well, what happened to this player? Like, why isn't this player playing? But sometimes things happen. Like you're not in the rotation or you're just not fitting in with that team. And that happens sometimes too. But again, it's not as easy to just allow those situations to fester as it has been in the past because one, our visibility as a whole in the league is bigger, it's more. So people are looking at some of these teams that are doing really, really well and like, oh, like they're doing really well. Like what they got going on is cool. But then you look over here at the teams maybe struggling a little bit and you're like, well, on paper, they look just as good as this team or that team. So like what they got going on over there. So it's all a journey. It's all a process. But I think, the teams that have the most buy-in obviously are the most successful. But I think that's like in all sports.
Well, you want to know what team I want to talk about? ATL.
Your team.
ATL. What?
Lexie. We also just played and lost to.
Lexie. And I'm always root for you, girl. But that's my city.
Whatever.
We are 5-2. What are the numbers saying? Because
well.
Listen, can somebody roll back the tape of me saying in our preseason video, I was like, I think we're going to be better than, and then all of the research I did, Lexie, everybody's like, let's manage expectations. So what happened, Lexie?
Okay, well, what I will say, okay, numbers first. So their net rating is 5.3, which is fifth in the league. So not horrible, top half of the league. Their assist percentage is 70%, which is fifth in the league. So what I will say about this Atlanta Dream team is this new coach, like I said, he wants to play fast and he wants to shoot a lot of threes because that's how he coached at Florida Gulf Coast. My main concern with the Dream was how were they going to manage that pace and style of play, playing double bigs and BG and Bree Jones. So from what I saw in our game against the Dream, is he benched BG in the second half. So we were up big, actually. We were actually had a nice little comfortable lead that game. And he said, you know what? Changing everything. I'm going one big, one center, because Nas came in and whooped our ass on the offensive glass. But so shout out to Nas because she's a little energizer bunny, and I've always loved that and appreciated that about her game. So yeah, I mean, stars don't get sat down often in the W. You don't see that. And I saw with my own eyes another game I did not play in. So I'm watching all these things very closely. I want to say that Ryan Howard and Allisha Gray might be the most underrated backcourt in the WNBA. Ryan is averaging 17 points right now, and she has been averaging 17 points per game the last 2 seasons. So she's very consistent with her scoring. Allisha Gray is averaging 21 points per game, up, I think, 5 or 6 points from her average last season, and she's shooting 44% from the three. So what they got going on in Atlanta, it looks good. And they're doing all of this without their starting point guard, Jordan Canada.
Who coming back would push us into another stratosphere, I fear.
I think so too, especially with how fast y'all be playing. Like,
now, I will say, it's funny that you mentioned the benching bigs, stars situation, because that's exactly what I was hoping would occur when we were playing the Fever in State Farm Arena, because that game was a visual representation of exactly what you were talking about. He wants to play super fast. That would have worked a little better against them. And it just wasn't happening. So I think that having a coach that is willing to make those adjustments, because...
And that's all it was, guys, before you're like, oh, she said BG got benched. Like, yeah, like you get sat down. Like, I'm on a permanent benching right now. Like, I know what it's like. Sometimes this ain't your moment. The end, move on. Next game, she might play the whole game and score 30. Like, It's not that serious.
And every game requires something different.
Yeah, it's all about making adjustments, and they made a major adjustment in the second half of the game. I think we were up 11 or 12 at halftime. So yeah, the Dream, like they look good, and they had some good contributions coming off the bench. Their bench is like solid. Like they're not gonna like score a ton of points, but they're gonna come in and provide energy and do what they need to do. And yeah, so shout out to the Dream. I'm mad that y'all beat us because that was one of those games. We'll get into my situation in a second, but if y'all know what it's like to be on the bench, like sometimes you see that score, that margin growing and growing, and you're like, dang, I'm gonna get in this game. And then the margin shrinks. I actually played 9 games I actually played 9 minutes this game. The game I didn't play was the last one in Vegas, but I played 9 minutes, and then the lead went away, and then that was it for me. So I was like, oh, okay.
Well, Lexie, you can go into more detail about your POV, because right now we're doing a check-in with what's going on with the Storm. I'm going to give the people a little overview, first of all. I'll say the Storm and not y'all, because I won't insert you into everything that has occurred. But the Storm currently hold a 3-4 record, having lost their last 3 games. Their most recent defeat was a close 75-70 loss to the Las Vegas Aces, who seemed to come in with some "we're gonna get our lick back" type of energy on Sunday.
And did.
Yeah. Gabby Williams led with 20 points, and some reserves contributed significantly in a late game rally. But I want to know, what you think, Lexie.
So first, we'll get into our numbers. So our net rating is negative 0.4, which is bad. You don't want to be a negative ever in net rating. So that's where we are. But it is 7th overall in the league. So it's not the worst, but being a negative is a no-no. Our assist percentage is 4th, which is good. A lot of our shots are assisted, which means we share the ball, and that is absolutely true. So love that. I know I didn't talk about this for the rest of the teams, but we are still dead last in 3-point attempts. So again, I'm gonna keep my eye on that number because that directly has impacted me, a 3-point shooter. So I think right now, I mean, we dealt with an injury with AC. We lost her for one of our games, and again, a lot of new pieces. Like you have the core 4 from last season returning, and then everybody else on the team is new. So that's just something that we're working through as a team, I feel like. I do want to shout out Gabby Williams, who's been playing out of her mind. I think a lot of people have been shocked at how she's been playing, only because they haven't seen her often in the W because she's been playing overseas a lot. But this is a player that she's always been, and she's even improved, I think. And I've been seeing her, develop her 3-point shooting, her decision making. Like she brings the ball up a lot for us. So just seeing her growth as a player. We were in the same draft class, so I've been, watching her for a long time. So she's been playing really well, and that makes me really happy for her, especially with the drama of prioritization and being in the W and being in France and all that kind of stuff. So to see her start the season this way has been like really amazing for her. Me personally, guys, I wish I had an explanation as to why I haven't been seeing a lot of playing time. All you can do is show up and do what they ask you to do and be a professional through it all, which is what I've been doing. What I have not liked seeing is any of the conversations surrounding my health. I'm not playing because I'm dealing with sickness. I'm fine. I'm healthy. I'm good. I didn't miss games because I was sick. I missed games because I didn't know what I was sick with. And then you have to figure out how to attack Crohn's disease with the medication. And then that's always the hardest part. And once you get that settled, like everything's fine. So anybody wondering like, oh, she's sick again, she can't stay healthy. Like, no, like I'm going to keep addressing this every week. I'm fine. I feel great. I'm in the gym. I'm shooting all the shots up. I don't know how many more shots you can take, as a shooter, but you can't make shots that you don't have. But I'm just being asked to be great in my role, which is currently being a great teammate and just being ready. And that's all you can do. And that's what professional sports is, unfortunately. Like I was talking to my mom today about it. Like, it's still amazing being here. The facility is still amazing. Like, I love my teammates. It's great. But like, ultimately, like this is I didn't ask for this trade. I didn't ask to be put in this situation. So it's just something that I'm navigating. It's like waking up one day, you're at a job that you really like in a city that you really like. And then you get a call from a job and be like, oh, we're sending you to this job over there. Good luck. Bye. Like that's ultimately what it is. So you can't do anything but be a professional through it all. And still grateful to be here. I have a job. I'm employed. I'm living my dream. But it's hard to watch like your team struggle or your team lose, and you're just sitting there like dang, like I know I can contribute. I know I can help, but you just gotta stay positive, which is what I'm trying to do the best that I can.
Lexie, thanks for being super honest with us about that. I think that people don't like to, talk about those things, and I really appreciate you being honest with us. But and I'm just from a number perspective, while you were talking, I had to look up some numbers of my own, and I will say it is interesting. The Seattle Storm are last in 3-point attempts, and the New York Liberty are second, right? And first in 3-pointers made. So I'm thinking to myself, at least in the WNBA side of things, we find that when a team wins a championship, obviously every team has their own personnel and identity. However, as a basketball fan and a sports fan in general, typically this happens in the NFL as well. When a team wins a championship doing a certain thing, it kind of starts to feel like the recipe for winning becomes similar to that. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just curious from your perspective as a professional. I feel like taking more threes and or making more threes could be beneficial to a team. Not just a Storm, any team. Yeah. I don't know. Me personally, I feel like why isn't that something that can be prioritized more across the board?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like because there was like such negative talk about there's too many threes, but it's like we're still not taking nearly as many as the NBA teams are taking. But it's like the Aces, like I said, have been leading the league in scoring, and it was because their pace and then they were shooting a lot of threes. And
they're second in threes made.
Yeah, like I thought that like this change would be happening a little quicker as far as prioritizing, 3-point shots versus 2-point shots. Like you said, you need to have a healthy combination of the two. And you have to the thing about the twos is like you have to make them at a high level. So you could make all the threes you want, but like if you're missing easy twos, like you're not going to win that way either. So it's just finding the healthy balance. And like you said, having the right personnel for it. So y'all know me, I watch all the games. I'm watching all of our film, whatever. And some of the shots that I'm seeing get put up, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, I'm just going to sit here and wait for that opportunity. Not that I want to go out and jack a bunch of threes. Like, that's also not what I want to do. I'm an efficient player. I like to play basketball the right way. But I also am not just delegated to playing outside the 3-point line. Like I can score in other ways. I can contribute in other ways. And I feel like because I talk so highly about my 3-point shooting, when I get to the WNBA, I get like put in like this 3-point shooter box. And I will take a little bit of accountability for that because I am very confident in my 3-point shooting because I know how hard I work at it.
As you should be.
But I can do other things. Like if anybody watched me in AU this past year, I was doing a lot of other types of scoring besides shooting threes.
Right.
So,
and you got a lot of praise for that.
Yeah. And it's something that I purposely did because I did feel myself being put in that box in the WNBA of, she can only shoot threes. If it's not a 3-point shot, then she won't take it, or we shouldn't give her the ball if it's not a 3. And that's something that, it's a good reputation to have. I get the few minutes that I'm out on the court, I get defended like I've made 25 threes already this season. I've made 0. So I've only shot 4, but I haven't made any. But every time I step on the floor, the respect is there. And that always makes me feel good, at least, because I am respected by my peers in that aspect. That she can shoot the ball, like don't let her get any easy looks. So that keeps me, confident and motivated, whether I'm making 10 threes or making no threes. Like I know the work that I've put in. But the only real thing that has really upset me about this is that like I will never get into the 3-point contest doing this. I'm going to have my own 3-point contest and live stream it for y'all to watch. And that's what I'm going to live stream it while the actual 3-point contest is going on.
I know. I really want that to happen.
I'm going to compete. I'm like, how am I going to get into the 3-point contest? Ain't nobody
Didn't you win the Gills Arena shooting contest?
I beat the couch. I didn't win the actual competition. But yes, I beat the couch. I'm the best shooter on the couch still. Officially. We had like a little mini shootout like 2 months ago and I didn't really shoot that well, but it didn't count. I'm still the best shooter on the couch.
Right.
We have a game tonight against Dallas, like I said, and this is a good opportunity to turn it around. Like no one is panicking, but you don't ever want to go on a losing streak at any point in your season. Like, doesn't matter what type of season you're having. Like, when those losses start to pile up, it's like, it's difficult. It's very difficult. But the Chicago Sky team I was on, I wasn't around for it, but they went on like a 7 or 8 game losing streak and finished 6th place. Not saying we're going to finish 6th, but again, it's not the end of the world. Like
Right.
losing happens. So,
and you're also not going to go on a
opportunity.
7-game losing streak.
Yeah. So tonight's a great opportunity for us to turn around. Everyone's really locked in. We had a great shoot around. Learned a lot from film from last game. So I'm excited for our game tonight. It's going to be a good one. And it's on ESPN. So y'all can see me either on the court or on the bench. Either way, y'all will be able to see me on ESPN.
I watched the last time you guys played the Wings too.
Oh, see, yeah. I didn't even play like if something. They might be able to throw me in there and be like, surprise, like you ain't see Lexie last game, so maybe you can see her tonight. But like I said, great opportunity for us tonight. So I'm really excited.
Well, at the end of the day, we love in the tunnel fits, Lexie. You eating that up.
Thank you. Thank
you. 10 cents, 10
Thank
cents, 10
you.
cents. If there were a
Thank
3-point
you.
contest for that, you'd be winning. But last team that we're going to get into before we talk a little bit about hardship contracts and educate you guys a little bit, because that goes into the situation we're about to discuss, and that is the Indiana Fever, who are 2-4. No Caitlin Clark for now, but Aaliyah Boston is thriving as a playmaker. Lexie, is this what you expected with no Caitlin?
Yeah. I mean, you don't expect people to get injured, obviously.
Well, last week when we discussed it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was expecting maybe for DB to like find her footing a little bit more. But like I said, it is not easy to get used to a new team, a new city. And then now your point guard's down. So that's probably going to make it a little bit harder for DB to like find her rhythm. Some of their numbers, net rating is 6.4, which is 3rd. They have the lowest assist percentage though. So when I see that number, I don't want everyone's thoughts to be like, oh, they're selfish, they don't pass the ball. Like, no, they just have a lot of players that can create their own shots.
Is that because also Caitlin is not playing?
Yeah, I mean, because when you have the player that leads the league in assists and your assist percentage is that low, like that doesn't really like make sense.
Right.
But again, like you have a lot of players that like can create their own shots, and then their assist percentage has probably taken a tumble since Caitlin has been out. What other numbers did we get into? That was it. Oh, their threes, and then surprisingly, this probably also is because Caitlin has missed some games, but they're 11th in 3-point attempts at 20.3. So I thought they would be taking way more threes than that. But even when Caitlin was playing, like they were still like kind of middle bottom of the list for 3-point attempts. So that was like very surprising to me. But also I think teams are defending Caitlin Clark a little bit better than last season. You have a year of experience, a year of film under your belt to figure that out. But yeah, this goes back to our conversations about roster spots because you could have your whole team and then 3 days later you have 7 players, which is basically what has happened to the Indiana Fever. So they've lost multiple players to injury and now have brought in players on hardship contracts.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about the Fever before we dive into hardship contracts?
Well, they added Ari McDonald on hardship to hopefully hang on while injured. But Lexie, definitely give us a little bit of hardship contracts 101.
So we mentioned a hardship contract in one of our previous episodes, but I was like, oh, we won't need to get into that until like middle of the season. But no, like here we are, games 7, 8 for a lot of these teams, and we're already signing hardship contracts. So what hardship contracts are, they are temporary contracts that can be used if you get under the minimum number of healthy players, which in our league is 8. So some teams started the season with 11. Some teams like us started with 10. So those hardship contracts can kick in very fast. They're in place. I think you get 75% of the veteran minimum. And just because they say rest the season, like that doesn't mean like these players are on the roster for the rest of the season. They're just on the roster until the player that they're replacing is back healthy. So you can still get like cut. But a lot of these contracts, also what people don't understand, everybody that's not on a guaranteed deal right now, they can still be waived from their team. So these non-guaranteed players are still like, you can get cut still right now. And a lot of people don't realize that.
So if a player on hardship comes in and goes off, let's say, and a player with a non-guaranteed contract, maybe hurt or something, and let's say that they're second, the depth chart for point guard, and they're hurt also, and then they sign a point guard for hardship, and that point guard goes off, and they decide they want to keep her for the rest of the season, would they then cut their second on the depth chart point guard that is non-guaranteed?
Technically, yes, they could do that.
Wow.
Is that the right thing to do? Is that good karma? Probably not. But if we're talking business of sports and business of basketball, and you have a hardship player come in and go crazy, like, yes, that can absolutely happen. Does that typically happen? No, usually just bring in the hardship player to meet your player minimum. But there are cases like last year for the Sparks that Odyssey came in and was starting as a hardship player. And now she's on a regular contract the next year. So they're great opportunities.
Yeah, with so many players getting waived.
Yeah, so I'm like really happy for Ari because her getting waived from the Sparks was definitely surprising. So for her to get a different opportunity on a Fever team that actually can use her, I'm really excited for her and really happy for her because I'm sure she wasn't expecting to get waived from the Sparks either. So if any of you guys were confused as to what a hardship contract was, I hope that cleared a little bit of that confusion up. But also something else that has come up that has probably confused people are players leaving to go play in Europe. And you guys are probably like, I thought the European season was the off season. Yeah, it is. But there's EuroBasket now. And if you guys don't know what EuroBasket is, it's the tournament that helps teams and countries qualify for the Olympics. So players just get to leave and be like, BRB, we're going to go play for our countries and we'll see y'all when we get back. So sometimes teams will like temporarily suspend a player, or they'll just waive them completely. Like there's really, it's a hard thing to explain to people. Like, why do they just get to leave in the middle of the season? And you're just like, well, because they can and you have obligations. Sorry, guys, this is my dog growling. Here he is. Everyone say hi to Cannon.
Oh, hi, Cannon.
Hi.
He's so cute. Wait, he was trying to take the mic.
But he's growling. Oh, he sees another dog out of the window. Sorry, guys.
Aw, hi, Cannon. He's so cute.
But yeah, he is so cute. But yeah, the EuroBasket, because I remember my second year in the league, I was trying to get a Serbian passport to play on the Serbian national team. And they wanted me to miss like the first half of the W season to go get ready for the
Why
tournament.
were you going to play in Serbia?
Well, because when you have a passport from another country, you can get paid more money overseas, and then you can go on teams with more Americans on it because technically you're not an American because teams overseas have caps on how many Americans you can have on a roster. So if you get a passport, you can be considered a European player. So then they can like load up on. So like, I don't know if you guys follow European and FIBA, but like there's like Fenner and a lot of those EuroLeague teams, you look over there and you're like, why do they have so many WNBA players on their team? It's because a lot of them have European passports. So they can like put them all on the same team.
Wow.
Which is also why some of your players, you are like, why aren't they on the USA team? Well, because they got passports. So they go play for other teams in other countries.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. So I was this close to being Serbian, y'all. I was real close, but it didn't work out that way.
You and Jokic would have been cousins.
I know. But yeah, I literally like I was playing in Hungary at the time. So I was like taking like little mini trips to Serbia, trying to get all that settled. I met with the coach. Like it was like happening. And then they're like, oh yeah, you need to miss like the first half of your W season. And I was like, I just got here. I can't miss. And then the rest is history. So yeah, that's the EuroBasket stuff. If you guys were wondering why players just get to leave It's just 'cause they have prior obligations.
One of the current top headlines going around, as far as the W is concerned, is Cameron Brink basically saying on her podcast that before the WNBA adds more teams, there needs to be more roster spots. With what we're talking about, EuroBasket departures, hardship contracts, do you feel as though, I think Portland is going to be the next one to get a team, or Toronto is getting a team. Toronto, the Timbo. But after that, and it's evened out, and so the Commissioner's Cup will now be 6-6. Do you feel like before expanding, there needs to be more roster spots?
I mean, I feel like both can happen.
Right.
So if there's a time for it to happen, it is now, but it's something that needs to be negotiated in our CBA. Or there just needs to be some type of, I was just talking about this on Cheryl and Tarika's podcast last week, that there's a new league starting East Coast, based out of Jacksonville, because my dad is like consulting with it. It's called Upshot, and it's going to be 4 teams in different cities on the like East Coast, and it's like going to be like a professional women's basketball league in the summertime. And I was like, well, I don't know. This will also have to be written in the CBA. If they can figure something out with the W to where you have players in this new league playing, working out, maybe you give these coaches offenses that are typically ran in the WNBA so that there's a pool of players that can be selected from, instead of going to find someone that is on their couch or at home or someone that's like not waiting around for that opportunity because they have another one somewhere else. Like sometimes players miss out on this opportunity with the hardship contracts because they accept their overseas contract or they go play somewhere else in the summertime. So I feel like in our new CBA, like we are 100% in control of how this moves forward. The roster spots, the team expansion, where these hardship players come from, like we all have to work together to make it a more realistic thing. Like instead of just calling random people to come fill in your roster spot, like it's not a good look for the league. It's a very stressful and weird situation for these players that get caught in these hardship situations. And yeah, like there's no reason why a professional basketball team should ever have 7 healthy players.
Right.
In week 1 of the season. Like that's ridiculous. So yeah, I think that there's a way that we can expand rosters and have the expansion teams, because I think the expansion teams are amazing. But I absolutely agree that these rosters need to be expanded, but that's something that's written in the CBA, so...
I agree.
You can't do anything about it right now, so yeah, like it's nice to just keep saying it over and over and over, but I'm in these CBA conversations. I'm on the committee. I'm our player representative for the Players Association. Me, AC is a vice president. NECA is the president. So we have like a lot, and Ezzy is like the like second player rep. So like we have a lot of voices in these conversations. So I hope that a lot of these players who are so vocal about things are also in these conversations, because their voices need to be heard to the right people, the people that are actually at the table. Like if you have a concern, like you need to be in these meetings, you need to have these conversations, because I know I am. Because if everybody knows me, I have a lot of concerns and opinions about a lot of things. But you better believe I'm at those meetings and I'm talking to Terry and I'm talking to NECA and I'm bringing things to the front and center that concern me, that I think need to be improved, that need to be better for the future of the league. So yes, I think we all agree that rosters need expanding. And hopefully that's something that we can get negotiated in the next CBA.
I agree. And I'm proud of all of you for making your voices heard. Lexie, I can't believe we're getting these people out in under an hour today.
Under an hour, guys. Like we are trying really hard. So this was a record day, but we got a lot. We talked about a lot, so we can do it. We can do it. We can make these episodes real efficient.
Tons. Well, Lexie, good luck tonight. Can't wait to see your fit.
Thank you. Yeah, I got a few laid out on my bed right now, actually. So guys, this is like, after I get through my scouting and film, the next part of my game day routine is figuring out the fit. So if y'all been watching me on the gram, y'all been seeing my outfits. I've been very proud of them. So it's been one of the highlights of the season so far has been the tunnel fits.
For sure. It's a highlight of ours as well. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Full Circle. We'll be back next week.
See y'all.